Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video on the SciLE Stats YouTube channel. As you can see, we have a bunch of stuff to talk about today. But before we get into any of that, before we get into looking at state results and stuff, I do want to say one thing. In my last video, I guess I didn't say this outright, but I implied that Georgia only sent one. Where's Georgia? Here we go. I need to fix this. I forgot to do that. That Georgia only sent one team to nationals, or was only sending one team to nationals. But I am wrong. I was wrong. Georgia sends two. So Chattahoochee did indeed make it to nationals. I think I mentioned in my last video that they were really close. They almost beat them. They almost beat Fulton Science, and they still. This gap didn't change. Yeah, Chattahoochee did indeed make it to nationals because Georgia sends two. So if you're from Chattahoochee High School in Georgia, I apologize that I did not mention that. But as you can see, I've highlighted you green. I've added you to the list down here somewhere. Here we go. I've added you to the list down here. Yeah, let's. So now with that out of the way, hopefully I've made amends for my mistake in the last video. Let's move on here. So I want to talk about state results all at once, and we'll get to that. We'll get to that towards the closer to the end of the video. But there are some things that I want to talk about first. Let's talk about this. So I've highlighted a couple things here on my ranking. Nothing's changed too significantly, but I should probably change this, in fact, because I just highlight changes here. We'll write change from last video. There we go. So I've changed two things here. First, let's talk about this one. So this is, I moved Carmel ahead of Jorden, and I did that because of Jordan's regionals. Jordan's regional was the University of Texas at Austin. And at that regional competition, again, I'm not going to show full results for any regional competition. If you want to see this, you can go on Duosmium. This is the name of the regional, University of Texas at Austin Regionals. On Duosmium, you can look at the full results for yourself. But the point is that LASA, which I'm forgetting what that stands for, Liberal Arts and Science Academy, there we go, beat Jorden by 1 point. Just 1 point. Very, very insignificant. If Jorden won a tiebreaker maybe on one of their tests, they could have actually beaten Liberal Arts and Science Academy here. But the point is that Texas is a lot closer than I expected. We scroll down here. Of course, Seven Lakes is still in the lead. Nothing changed there. But Jorden and Liberal Arts and Science Academy, I think I even had William P. Clements ahead of Liberal Arts and Science Academy. I think I've switched that around. I didn't highlight this, so maybe I didn't. I forget. You can look at my other videos, and I'll probably look at my other videos to make sure. But I still think Jorden is likely going to win this, even though they did lose to LASA at their regionals. Perhaps when you factor in, all the states they would have won. Something similar to that happened in PA, where Harriton won their regionals, but then when you factored everyone else in, they actually would have lost to Lower Merion if in the state projection. So maybe something like that happens here. This could be a lot closer than I expected. I expect this to be within 5 points, maybe. I don't know, maybe it was just a really good day for Liberal Arts and Science Academy, but that did happen. So I've moved Jorden down because of that. Again, not too significantly, just moved Carmel ahead of them. Jorden, they looked really, really good in the first half of the year. And if you remember correctly, I think Jorden was in one of the first variations of my ranking. Jorden was actually in the my top 10. Recently, here they're dominating Liberal Arts and Science Academy. This is MIT. Again, pretty decent performance at MIT, honestly. We go down to here. They lost to Seven Lakes. No big deal. Seven Lakes is one of the best teams in the country right now. I'm pretty sure I've said that I was going to super score Seven Lakes at this tournament, but I have not done that yet. But again, beating William P. Clements, pretty notable. Cypress Falls, here they even beat Seven Lakes, which is, of course, very notable. Of course, beating Liberal Arts and Science Academy and William B. Clements. So, I mean, I'm not really sure what went wrong for them at their regional tournament, but yeah, I mean, if they don't take it seriously, I can definitely see Liberal Arts and Science Academy beating them. So, um, yeah, I think that's all I want to say about that. And yeah, this is all just covering that. So let's get rid of that. And let's talk about Jorden Invitational here, real quick, before we get into state competitions. So there has been another significant invitational here. There have actually been two more that I didn't add on here because it would have been really annoying to do that. And honestly, they wouldn't have changed too much. But just so you know, the other major one, the semi-major one, I guess, was Slinger, where what was Marquette? That's the team. Marquette sent like four rosters to that one, and they were all unstacked. So like they didn't get first, but when you super scored them, they get first by like 40 points. So I mean, and that Marquette was the only competitive team there. So like. I mean, other than telling us Marquette is going to be Wisconsin state champion, very likely, that doesn't really tell us that much. Um, but yeah, let's talk about Jorden here. So Jorden is a really weird invitational for one reason, and that is Harriton was here, but maybe not. Let me explain. So if you look on the Duosmium results for this tournament, if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll notice a team named Pingus. Um, you'll notice a team named Pingus competed in exhibition. And I've heard from my friend Sentient Tree on Discord that this team was Harriton. For whatever reason, I guess that's what he heard from someone else. So this might be, like double hearsay at this point. Um, but so if this is Harriton, I won't count it against them. I'm not going to factor this into my rankings. Um, because I just don't know. I don't know if this rumor is true or not. And I definitely don't want to be spreading rumors. But yeah, if this is Harriton, then this is probably about where I would expect them. Maybe a little worse, honestly. Losing to Centennial from Maryland. Centennial is a decently competitive team. Maybe top 20 worthy, but certainly not like top 15 or top 10 at nationals. Again, decently competitive, but I mean, for Harriton to be, I mean, this is essentially a tie, 2 point gap. That's nothing. But still, I mean, essentially a tie with a team that's probably going to get 20th or 21st at nationals is not where you want to be if you're Harriton. Um, Again, that's this is Harriton. I won't count it against them. I'm not if honestly, if I knew this was Harriton, I would probably move Cumberland Valley ahead of Harriton nationally, maybe even Enloe. They've just Harriton. If this was Harriton, Harriton has just been very very bad at well, I shouldn't say bad, but just not the level that you would expect from Harriton at recent invitationals. Um, Again, I did this in my last video, but if we look at their record recently, their regional performance was not great, and then Soup, they were not great. MIT really, MIT is really their only strong performance. I'd say. I mean, this is a very strong performance. Don't get me wrong. Seventh at MIT is incredible. Um, but I mean, other than that, like Battle at Valley Forge, this was their B team. We can't knock that against them. Dick Smith, again, unstacked, didn't compete in build events. When you super score them and, give them an average, I think I gave them an average of third place in build events, they do end up beating CV super scored, and in fact, Monte Vista. So I guess this is a pretty decent showing for them. But again, I mean, this is probably an irrelevant, what's it called? Irrelevant data at this point. I don't know why I'm having so much trouble speaking right now. Yeah, this is probably an irrelevant data point at this point because this tournament is so old. And honestly, like I said, I think I said this in my last video too. I talked about Harriton a lot in my last video. I need to just stop. But MIT as well is bordering on irrelevant at this point, considering it was so long ago. That was back in January, almost what 2.5 months ago. Like, how long does a tournament stay relevant for? I have no idea. But yeah, again, if this is Harriton, not a very good showing. I don't know for sure that it is Harriton, so I'm not going to count it against them. But other than that, we have Centennial, we have Thomas Jefferson, and Liberal Arts and Science Academy again. Uh, this actually, I almost want to say this is their B team because if this is their, A team, this is the team that beat Jorden at regionals again by 1 point, maybe essentially a tie, I guess. But like, this is the team that tied Jorden at regionals. That would indicate Jordan's like below Thomas Jefferson here. Honestly, maybe even take them out of, whatever I have going here. I need to. By the way, I will try and make a nationals prediction video. I probably should. I have no idea how in depth I'm going to go. Like, I don't know if I'm going to do every team that's attending nationals and ranking every team in every event because that would take like an hour per event, and I'm just not ready to put that kind of time into the channel. But yeah, if I do something like that, then I would probably I'd obviously have a full prediction list. So we'll see where some of these teams that I'm a little more unsure about end up. Like, I mean, Harriton versus Cumberland Valley and Enloe and Nutrier. Again, I was talking with Sentient Tree last night about maybe my Nutrier placement is a little too harsh. But I was saying like they've just been not bad necessarily, but just again like similar to Harriton, just not really what you expect from Nutrier. Northwest was just not very good for Nutrier at all. Like, I mean, I'm just gonna say it. This was a bad performance. This was a bad performance from Nutrier. I'm sorry if you're from Nutrier. I'm sure you tried your hardest here, but it's just not a very good performance. Loyola, I mean, this is a little better. I guess Super Score, this is very good for Nutrier. But then you go to Solon, again, losing to Cumberland Valley outright, losing to Mason unstacked, and Marquette, like, half their team was missing and they almost beat you, Um, so I don't know. Maybe I'm a little too harsh on Nutrier here. Maybe they deserve to be above CV or something like that. But I don't know. I'll need to take a closer look at that. Like I said. All right. Back to Jorden. I get sidetracked way too easily. Anything else to talk about here? I don't think so. Thomas Jefferson doing okay. I mean, this is a decent performance, I guess. Like I said, they'll probably be in top 25 to top 20 or so. I don't know. I have them here for now. Some of these, some teams that I don't have on this list are probably ahead of Thomas Jefferson. I've just kept them here since Soaps, really. Yeah, I mean, they dominate this tournament. And then Soaps, Super Scored, they do pretty well. Super Scored, they beat CV. Honestly, like, all these teams Super Scored beat CV, but, yeah, not really a whole lot more to talk about. We only have 3 tournaments for Thomas Jefferson, I'm just realizing. There's that one. There's this one, which they sent 3 teams to, and then there's this one, which they sent 3 teams to. So even though it shows seven pings for Thomas Jefferson, we only have 3 tournaments for him. So I guess this is good for that reason. More data for Thomas Jefferson here, but yeah, a little weird. And again, I think that's it for this tournament. We can look at Liberal Arts and Science Academy a little further. I feel like I've talked too much about them this video, but yeah, I mean, just kind of doing decent across the board here. Again, usually getting beat out by Jorden and, of course, Seven Lakes, but yeah, beating Jorden at their regional. Very, very good sign for them. All right, enough rambling about that. Let's get to some state tournaments, shall we? Because we have some interesting things to discuss, I'd say. So, first things first. So, some of these state tournaments I don't have on here. even though they happened. So down here, how my color coding works here is blue is just stuff that I haven't talked about yet. I guess I can cross you off since I mentioned you now. Blue is stuff I haven't talked about yet, and then orange is stuff that I don't have on here, and that's because these states don't have not released their full results yet. So I can't do what I've done for these other states where I put their team score here after the state. Yeah, I'm gonna leave these. I put them in the list though, since I want this to be a list of all the teams that are attending nationals. At least that I can find their state tournament for. And again, thank you to Sentient Tree for sharing with me a list from actually another Discord user who I forget the name of. So I'm gonna probably disappear here to look at that real quick because I want to credit them for this. Let's see. All right. The Discord user is Jaspatak. Yeah, Jaspatak. There we go. I don't know if I disappeared there or not. I went to Discord for that, so I don't know if my thing disappeared. But whatever. Yeah, so thank you, Sentient Tree, for sharing that with me, and thank you, Jaspatak, for making that list of all of the state winners and stuff. So I've added those on here. So let's talk about some tournaments that we actually can see results for. So Nevada, first of all. Here we go. Yeah, of course, Edward Clark wins this. They were the Nevada State champions last year. They did pretty decently at a recent tournament that I forget the name of. Oh, is this just Clark? Oh, I guess so. I don't know why that didn't accept it. Whatever. Yeah, so Northwest, I guess this is their decent performance. I mean, they beat both of Nutra's teams, so that's something. Yeah, I mean, Edward Clark, obviously not the most competitive team, but this is a pretty decent performance for them. Then you have Golden Gates, okay. I don't really know why I'm going into in-depth stuff for them. I don't know if I've done that for other teams or not. But let's just talk about this. So, yeah, they win this fairly handily, beat Davidson Academy by a decent margin. There was a tournament where these two schools faced off against each other, and Davidson Academy actually beat Edward Clark, if I can. Oh, here we go. Oh, it's the one I'm looking at, Golden Gate. Yeah, they beat him by a pretty significant margin here. Of course, that doesn't really matter now since Edward Clark has beaten them by I mean, this is definitely a significant margin. Not the biggest margin, but it's still pretty significant win there for Edward Clark. Next, we are moving on to Alabama. So, congratulations. Oh, yes, and congratulations, Edward Clark, for being the Nevada State champion. So, congratulations to Alabama School of Fine Arts for being the Alabama State champion. So, again, beat their competition fairly handily here. This was actually a pretty close gap. I mean, again, essentially a tie. 1 point gap between Vestavia Hills, and Loveless Academy. A very small gap. Again, essentially a tie there between those two. Of course, even if Loveless Academy did beat Vestavia, neither of them make it to nationals, so it didn't really matter, at least not for our purposes. Yeah, so congratulations to Alabama School of Fine Arts for being the Alabama State champion. And again, I want to see. I think they're actually. Sorry, let me do it this way. I think they are the new state champion. So James Clements from Alabama was the state champion last year, and I'm going to disappear for a second. I'm going to see if, yeah, okay. So okay, from the Alabama state results from 2022 are shown on Duosmium, but not from 2023, which is what I'd be looking for. I was curious where. Oh, sorry. No, okay. I'm not going to find that right now. I was going to see where James Clements ranked this year in Alabama, but because I don't have them on here, I probably should have put them on here, honestly, even though they're out of the top three, obviously. But yeah, that's enough about Alabama. Congratulations, Alabama School of Fine Arts. So yeah, then we get to these states that do not have their results released. I'll still congratulate these teams though, and probably screw up everyone's pronunciation along the way. So congratulations to Northwestern Rackin from Mississippi. Congratulations to Clinton from South Carolina, Brookings from South Dakota, and Morgantown from West Virginia. And we'll do these while we're here as well. So congratulations to Iolani from Hawaii and Blue Valley North from Kansas. Now, let's talk about California. So, as you most likely know, California is very unique in Science Olympiad because they actually have two state competitions for Division C and Division B. They split their state into North and South, presumably because California just has so many Science Olympiad teams that they need to split their state so that they give people a fair shot. Yeah, so congratulations to Monta Vista from the north and Troy from the south for taking their state championships. So let's talk about these results. So Monta Vista, I was a little unsure about them going into their state competition here because they actually lost to when they're super scored, they lost to Mountain View, and I forget if they lose to Castro Valley super scored in their regionals as well. Again, I'm gonna disappear here to check this out. Let's see. Got to find it because it was a while ago. I feel like I need to keep talking, keep you entertained while I look for this. I think it's this one. No, it's not. Okay. All right. I'm going to give up on that. It's taking too much time. All right. Yeah, so back to this. I know they lost to Mountain View when Super scored. I'm not sure about Castro Valley. But yeah, I was a little unsure about how they do here. But yeah, they ended up sticking it out and again, beat their competition. I was about to say, well, yeah, fairly handily. That's almost a 20-point gap. That is a 20-point gap between them and Mountain View. Again, between Mountain View and Castro Valley, the 1-point gap there, essentially a tie. Again, for our purposes, it doesn't really matter who would come out on top there, but I'm sure for either one of these teams, Mountain View, I'm sure would have liked to take home the second place trophy. Whoops. Yeah, Monta Vista, again, congratulations. And I believe this is Monta Vista's first time going to nationals. So, again, congratulations, Monta Vista, for that. And, of course, in the South, we have Troy, well known to be one of the best Science Olympiad teams in the country. Troy, of course, takes their state competition with no problem here. However, their score is lower than you would expect. And that is the reason that you can see I've actually moved Troy down. I've moved Troy down behind Solon. Again, they had a very strong performance at, I believe, MIT and, of course, quite a few other tournaments. Yep, Golden Gate, they had a very strong showing. This was probably their B team. Glenn A. Wilson beating Troy. Not likely. In fact, do we have... No. We do not. Okay. I was going to say, do we have Glenn A. Wilson on either one of these? No, we do not. Yeah, and then at MIT, they took first by a very large margin. That's, 60 points? Very impressive there. But again, not a great state performance. So I've moved them behind Solon for now. Again, this could easily change. I can definitely see Troy becoming the national champion this year. I can really see this either way. Who knows? Maybe Acton Boxborough can even sneak in here and take this. I know at one point I had Acton Boxborough ahead of Solon, so that is always a possibility. Yeah, congratulations, Troy, for, of course, being the South California state champion. So, moving on to Virginia, Thomas Jefferson Academy for Science and Technology? Is that the full name for it? I think I have the abbreviation here. Yeah. Thomas Jefferson High School for Science and Technology. That's it. They take this win pretty convincingly here over Langley. Interestingly enough, I didn't make a comment about this. Actually, I think I mentioned this here. Yes. So Langley could actually make nationals if Idaho, or I assume some other state, drops their doesn't send the team to nationals. I keep doing that. So yeah, if some random state doesn't send a team to nationals, then Langley will actually earn a seat to nationals. So Langley, I hope you do. I hope to see you at nationals there, and of course, congratulations to Thomas Jefferson for being the Virginia State champion. I don't think there's anything else to say about that really. Again, pretty big gap there. Fairfax, that's a pretty small gap. It's just barely significant. That's 9 points. Again, typically I consider any gap less than 7 points or less, I suppose, to be a non-significant gap. So that just means that if things had gone a little bit better for this other team in a couple events, then they could have actually beaten this other team. But yeah, maybe not this time. Sorry, Fairfax. And again, Langley, hope to see you at nationals. So next, let's talk about Florida. So we have Boca Raton and Bushholes from Florida taking their 2 national seats. And whatever this says, Archim. Oh my God, I am going to butcher this horribly. I can already tell. Archimedean Upper Conservatory. Yeah, okay. We're going to go with that. Yeah, they take third here. Pretty handle defeat. That doesn't make sense. Pretty convincing. There we go. That's the word. Again, I'm just having so much trouble speaking today. Pretty convincing defeats from Boca Raton and Bushholes towards the Upper Conservancy here. Conveniently ignoring this first part here. And yeah, between these 2 schools, that's a pretty close gap, actually. That is exactly 7 points, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, I think maybe if things went a little bit better for Bushels, they could have been the Florida State champion. But for now, congratulations to both Boca Raton and Bushels for getting the 2 Florida seats to nationals, and special congratulations to Boca Raton for being the state champion. And last but not least, let's talk about Arizona. So this is a result that I just added. Yeah, not too much to talk about here. University takes this again. I believe they were Arizona's state champion last year. Yep, there we go. Yeah, they were the Arizona state champion last year. Again, not too terribly competitive on the national scene, but that's okay. Because they got their state championship, and I assume that's really what they care about. So again, congratulations to University for being the Arizona state champion. Again, 10-point gap here, not the biggest gap. So Basis Mesa could have maybe taken this if things went a decent bit better for them. Unfortunately, they did not. So, yep, University takes the Arizona State Championship. And I believe that's all I want to talk about. So, real quick, I'm running out of time here, I've just realized. But real quick, before the video ends, I wanted to update you guys on the situation with live streaming the Pennsylvania state results. It is looking very likely that will not happen. I was talking with the state supervisor about it, and initially he seemed into it, but then the board seemed to change its mind. The reason that they cited was that they didn't want the focus to be taken away from the STEM learning and getting people involved and interested in STEM, and focus more on like the competitive and toxic aspects of Science Olympiad, which that is a very fair point. I can definitely understand how, at the state competition, me commenting saying, oh, that's a crushing defeat or something like that is not going to be very helpful for teams. So yeah, I completely understand their reasoning. But unfortunately, that means that I will very likely not be live streaming the Pennsylvania state results. However, it seems likely that they will have some sort of official live stream up again without my commentary. So if you want to take a look at that, maybe I'll try and make that public when that happens. So I have 10 seconds left. So thank you very much for watching the video. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.